Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today is a very special day because my dear friend Renae is competing at her very first pro rodeo.
Do you love me? Do you need me?
I'm not kidding, she is going to remember this day for the rest of her life. I wanted to document it on this end because I've never been a mentor or a coach to have somebody go to the pro level yet, so this is a really big deal for me too. Renae has done this 100% on her own. I've just been there to help mentor and coach and bring the greatness out of her that she already had inside, to see her blossom and really come into her own and step out there, take a risk, and to publicly go through it with you guys, because that in itself is a lot of added pressure that she doesn't owe the world at all. But I'm so thankful that she's sharing her journey, because up and coming barrel racers can certainly relate, and I wish that I had that when I was headed into my first pro rodeo, which I will tell you about in just a bit. So let's take it back to my very first pro rodeo, which was not too long ago. In fact, I remember it just like it was yesterday. It was in Colorado. And I actually got a performance, not slack. So there were lights, there was sound, there was music. Taz and I had run at rodeos before, but mentally this was so much different because I knew that it was pro. So there was a long journey getting there, and luckily I was there the night before, because when I rolled in, I started crying. I was tearing up, because that's such a big moment in any barrel racer's career. Buy your permit, plan a rodeo, and show up. Just doing that was an accomplishment. I left out of Texas. I was so excited the whole way out there. I couldn't hardly eat. I remember just not being able to sleep. My mind was just everywhere. I watched the performance the night before. I ran through every single run that I had on Taz on my phone. Good setup for us. It was just a great pick, a great rodeo. There in Colorado. The weather was perfect. It was kind of cool out. It was during the fall, so everything was calculated correctly, and it all just came down to, now can you step up to the plate? And I had quite a little social media following at the time, but that adds so much pressure, and I don't think probably anybody realizes that. But when you step out there and you say, look, this is what I'm doing, and then you actually have to do it and follow through, well, if you don't do well, then everybody still wants to know how you do. So you're kind of just, you're putting yourself out there in a really big way. That in itself also is a big freaking deal. Anyway, I remember going and getting my number and seeing on the day sheet all of the names that I had, studied and looked up to, and I was just like, ugh, crazy. And one thing that was so funny is that, so that morning I got in the arena with Taz, and I ran through the pattern a little bit, did just a light practice, and I unbridled him in the arena, tied him to the fence in a halter, went and did something, came back. When it came to rodeo time, my tie down was nowhere to be found. I had my tie down, had to have been in the arena. I left it in the arena. Now I'm panicking, I'm freaking out, running around like a chicken with my head cut off, oh. So I go behind the bucking chutes. I actually ran into somebody that I knew from working the flags at the NFR. He helped run some of the flag horses, so I'm like, hey, I know you, I'm looking for this tie down, can you please help me find it? I knew exactly where it was. Saved the day, but definitely got my energy and my just nerves level 10 before the rodeo even started. Luckily, I was trying to get ready early enough that I realized that piece of equipment was missing. I recommend getting saddled early and doing a routine in the same order every time, so that nothing like this happens, and you put your bridle and your headstall in the same place every time. You do this in the same way every single time, so that you're not scattered. And I also absolutely have to have a clean tack room, or I'm just derailed. So those are a few little insider tips. I'm going to let you guys in on my side of Renae's very first pro rodeo run. I'm gonna call her right before she goes and let you guys see, the pep talk that I'm going to give her. I've been thinking about it all day. I actually called her this morning just to tell her good luck, to, try to take it easy today. I know there's a lot on your mind. It's a big day, not to downsize that, or, downsize, whatever, you know what I mean. Not to downplay this day at all, because you will remember it for the rest of your life, but to try to take it easy, and in here, in your mind and your body, just another day. And I told Renae this morning, it's the same pattern, the same 3 barrels that you've been running at your whole entire career. So the stakes are higher, but your horse doesn't know that. So don't let your energy reflect it and, you know, change anything for him. So keep him the same competitor that he's always been. Do everything just the same. Make sure you eat so you have enough energy, because you're just gonna get really amped up. And when I get amped up, I don't feel hungry at all. And you don't wanna crash or like realize that you are out of energy when it's actually go time. In my first run, I remember going up the alley. I remember a girl off to my left saying, "Go Jenna," and I was like, wow, somebody knows my name. They're cheering for me. That was my last cognitive thought before I ran down the alley. And from there, I don't honestly remember anything. I came out and I was like, how'd I do? And I remember listening for my time and hearing it, and I was like, that's kind of good. I think I'm placing. I was like, that's kind of good. It was a standard pattern, and I ran a 17.8, I believe, and that was fourth, and that got a check. And I didn't give a hoot about anything. I placed at my very first pro rodeo as a performance. I was so proud in that moment. That's still to this day one of the best days of my whole life.
I have not got that brand on your feet in my closet. Jenna got it going on. The Drive, Oklahoma.
And this is so funny, the picture on the way out, my face says it all. Like I realized that I had, you know, completed my first run, everything was still standing, it was whatever, I did it, and I was just like pure joy and excitement on the way out. I couldn't even freaking stand it. That memory for me is forever and ever, like right here. And I know that's gonna be the same for Renae. No matter what happens, this is a big day. But I'm pulling for her all the way from Texas. I'm gonna be cheering, holding my breath from here. Hopefully you guys are too at home. I shouted her out this morning on Instagram, so everybody send good vibes her way. I can't wait to see how she does. So Renae ran last night in Cedar City, Utah. I was going to record the phone call that I gave her right before her run, but it turned out she wasn't gonna run until like 1:30 in the morning. So nobody was up. I didn't get it recorded. But anyway, she did outstanding. I'm gonna show you her run here. And then this morning at Delta, Utah, also in the Slack. And again, nobody around to freaking video these phone calls. They're just absolute gold. So last night she had truck trouble on the way to the rodeo, which as much as pro rodeo cowboys and cowgirls drive their vehicles, it's just like you've basically got to be a mechanic by, you know, year 5, I feel like. And I've only had just, you know, a couple years of experience and not a ton of hauling up and down the road. But I can't even count the number of times that we've had a flat tire where the generator has quit and an axle. It's a very small taste of it, but adds a little bit of stress. So we talk about changeability. That is something you've got to completely leave at the gate when you get to where you're going. So you can't let that stuff get your heart rate up, give you anxiety, or affect your mental state at all, which it's very, very difficult to do that because you know, you want to make your run, you're worried about what time it is, you're worried about where they are in the performance, and all that stuff kind of affects. So it was kind of funny to see her go through that so quickly off the bat. Sorry for you, lady, but you handled it like a champion. They limped in, you know, going a little bit slower. She got to see a couple of runs during the performance and see a couple big names, which is always intimidating, but sort of awesome at the same time because, wow, your idols just became your competitors. It's a big ass day. Renae did outstanding. I'm so, so proud of her. But I think it's so important just to have somebody on the other end that you can reach out to, and just a couple words of encouragement, you know, believing in you and just reinforcing that, you know, you do deserve to be here, you are good enough, and go out there and kill it. And, you know, just that to me is worth the world. And I'm just so thrilled that I can do that for Renae. And she's got it inside her. She's got greatness inside of her, and Stryker. I know they can do it. I think I believe in them as much, you know, as much as they do. And that's honestly what it takes. You got to believe in yourself, you know, above all odds. And one thing that I thought was really cool and important that I learned is, you know, when I'm starting out, when I was rodeoing my rookie year, or even my first year as a card holder, I would have an expectation to run, you know, with these girls who have been doing it for 20 years, or maybe this is their 5th year, 7th year on this horse, and they're taking these pens, these difficult, tricky pens, and they're reacting quickly, and they're in sync with their horse, and I'm like, man, I want to be like that. Why aren't I like that? And I'd kind of, you know, beat up on myself a little bit, and then, you know, somebody grabbed a hold of me and they told me, like, don't compare your year 1 or year 2 with somebody else's year 20. If this is your 20th year, you should know these pens, you should know these tricks, you should, you know, be able to think ahead and do all this stuff. But that's the beauty also of having a coach that's been there and done that. And that's why I advocate, you know, finding a mentor to help you. Somebody who's gone where you want to be and is achieving what you want to achieve, so that you don't have to learn all this stuff the hard way, that you can just bend an ear. And I also really believe there is truly room for everyone at the top, and there's so much success that there's no sense in bullying each other or not helping each other. And, you know, the camaraderie on the road, it's there if you look for it, and it is there if you're willing and open. At the same time, you can be closed off, you know, not get out of your trailer until it's your time to run, you know, not interact with girls in the practice pen, and then it will seem like a Shark Tank out there. But at the same time, those girls are so helpful to me, and I just thank each and every one of them for answering the phone when I call them, for, you know, giving me the advice when I need it, and for honestly just believing me in me a little bit when I have doubt. It's just fun to have somebody else out there, or a lot of girls out there, you know, that have been down this trail before and that are willing to help you. And I'm just really, really glad that I can do that for Renae, because I see so much of myself in her, and I remember being in her shoes like it was yesterday. Like, I was crying pulling into my first pro rodeo, and I remember seeing names on the day sheet that just, I was in awe, my jaw hit the floor. Yeah. So there you have it. Those are Renae's very first pro rodeo runs in the books. I'm so excited that I can be just a small part of it, and I cannot wait to see where this duo goes. Make sure you check her out across all of her social media platforms. She's made it really easy for you. Renae Cowley across the board. Twitter at Renae Cowley. Instagram at Renae Cowley. She got Snapchat, she does YouTube. Really get a hold of this girl and get invested in her story, because she is going places, and she has been so kind as to share her behind the scenes, all of the emotion, all of the struggle, and everything with you guys. And this is so invaluable for young barrel racers coming up, because it gives you a taste of what things are really like. So make sure you tune in, and I can't wait to see you guys next time.
You love me.